Whoa, dude. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. We are live. A Wednesday edition of the Slate. Reed Fowler is back. Jeff Ulrich is here. Emerson Latzia, yours truly. Jeff, it's good to see that Reed feels like working a little bit today.
She'll back up from his, what he described as work to join us. That's great. I mean, got his bets up and stuff, and interested to hear his thoughts. I think we are on a lot of the same page this week. So,
Reed, how was everything last week? Doing some stuff for PGA Tour Live, or I guess you were just checking out homes in the St. Augustine area?
Yes. PGA Tour Live secondary to checking out the real estate in St. Augustine. Did you know, Emerson?
What's up?
That St. Augustine is the oldest city in the country.
You know what? That is one of the few facts.
And did you know, Emerson? Did you know that it is French English inspired with a little Spanish colonial? But you know what? I don't want to get to that. What I want to talk about earlier this morning, we were on the sweat with the one Pierce Dietrich, who is who is what, maybe 42 going on 85.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He's probably like late 30s.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's in his 40s because of the line of work that he does. And it's God's work. But the man was living in like VCR DVD era, talking about the OT, Jeff. I don't know if you were on the Zoom with us, just in the back room, listening to Pierce's OT reasonings. Emerson he went away from the bipartisan and was completely on the offensive against Pierce. It was great.
Dude, Jeff, Pierce thinks that the NFL is ruined because of the overtime postseason overtime rule changes. It's wild. I should actually clip that up and tweet it out because
of the new overtime rules.
Yeah, they have the postseason overtime rules in the NFL.
Aren't they better now?
Exactly.
Let me sum it up. Let me be the Pierce Dietrich of this panel here, because panel is 3 people, or just one more person. He said that if you don't win in regulation, then you both get losses. B, that you should just implement a 5th quarter instead of do the old overtime rules. And C, basically everyone should go back to getting milk delivered at their front porch. And we should go back to using pennies instead of dollars for currency. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
I don't know. Was he being serious about the
100%?
No. He was being wicked serious. He hates the rule change. He thinks what happens in the real world, if you don't win, you're fired. People just don't get changed the rules.
I mean, if it's tied at the end of the Super Bowl, just nobody wins the Super Bowl that year.
Right.
That's what I kept trying to get out of him. And Rika backed me up on this. He wasn't doing it. And he was like, let's go to a 5th quarter, 6th quarter. He's like, you don't need to change necessarily the rules, I guess, in his eyes, make it worse. And I said to him, he's like, make it hockey. And I said, well, you're comparing, because he's complaining about the NFL changing the rule for the postseason, not being the same as kind of the regular season. He was comparing it to hockey, and hockey is a one sport that changes its overtime rules for the postseason. I said, what are you talking about, bro? You're hammered.
And they have changed. They have gotten closer to that hockey format, but I mean, it is football. You can't play 10 quarters of football. People would start dying. I mean, legitimately. I know hockey's a contact sport too, but football is played at an insane, legitimately. I mean, the players would never go for that. So they've given both teams a chance to score now, which is what needed to happen. And that's enough for me. I mean, I guess in a perfect world, we play 12 quarters and let them decide it. But that's not physically possible. That's just the way the sport is, right? I mean,
I'll say 2 things.
I'm not even shocked to hear this, but it's
right. Exactly. I'll say 2 things and then we'll leave it.
Okay.
One is that you're going to see more teams, if they get the ball first, go for 2-point conversions.
Yes.
Right. And that's exciting in its own right. So we all welcome that. Number 2, I wouldn't be surprised if the XFL does a lot of this stuff where they do these different types of formats in the overtime, the kickoffs, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, fellow Polynesian, Yeah, because me and Dwayne look alike.
That's important.
Important distinction there, just by proxy, obviously. But he mentioned that you're going to see a lot of that crossover, and that was initially what the XFL and the UFL there. That's what they were trying to do, right? Is be a test ground for the NFL, and that's actually going to happen. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of that stuff coming to XFL. Then the next year, the following year, it can go to the NFL because they got to iterate on certain stuff. They can't just leave things as is.
Yeah, and I get it. It's very difficult to find something that's like perfect. They're like everyone's going to love, because in my opinion, I'd love to see him do college rules. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I agree too. Yeah,
but at least we avoid here, guys, like the unsatisfying end that we saw to like Bills versus Chiefs in that divisional playoff round, where it was like the most exciting game in recent memory was decided by a lackluster and unfair like final coin toss. Like, okay, that's fine. But in that game probably would have still ended the same way after both teams had a possession. Like Chiefs probably would have ended up just winning because like the Bills probably would have scored and then the Chiefs would end up scoring. So it's like if the game remains tied after like a possession each, then it's just like sudden death. So, okay, just give both teams an opportunity, a chance to touch the football in overtime. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, makes sense.
That like, we can argue defense, like there's, maybe we go shootout rules or like something like the CFL used to do, but at least we're getting a little bit more fairness involved. And that's really all we can ask for. We give, I'm sorry that we can't get the 12 quarters that Pierce ordered. But we'll just have to make do here.
Dude, I love it. Like the transformation of Pierce Dietrich over the past couple of years has been incredible to witness. It's great content.
As someone who's known Pierce for a while, it's not a transformation. This is who he is. Okay. It's just he's getting more airtime now.
Yeah. Okay. More airtime, more comfortable, whatever it is. Like, I love it because he says some of the most ridiculous things ever. And it really started to catch my ear like last season during football season, where he's like, oh, the Detroit Lions are a 500 football team. And we're all looking at him like, what are you talking about, bro? They're like 2-14. And
well, to you, they are. They're 2-14, but to him, they're
the classic Pierce Dietrich move is to say something really sharp and then follow it up with something so insane that you forget about the sharp thing he said and you can just focus on the insane thing he said. So that's Pierce in a nutshell.
Yeah, because I know he's smart. He tweets out books that he reads, and I'm like, dude, you read books, so like you're automatically like really smart in my eyes. But then yes, he comes on the sweat and says some unbelievable stuff. But I'll say this, guys, after the NFL like overtime rule stuff, all the NFL news. The one thing that is owning headlines, especially in the golf world right now, no, it has nothing to do with the Valero Texas Open. It has everything to do with an extremely rich dude who's very good at golf, flying in his private jet from Palm Beach up to Augusta. Not just any dude, it is Tiger Woods. He played a practice round at Augusta yesterday. Okay, I'll start with Reed, because I don't think we've talked to Reed about it yet. Like, Reed, what's your gut telling you right now after all the news about Tiger Woods over the past 24, 36 hours here? Like, do you think he plays? I think was he plus 4,000 to win the Masters? There he is. Yeah, I see it on the screen right now. So what do you think he ends up doing? Because this is not like a function of his swing here. Like, it's whether he can handle going up and down that course. You got to be a Billy Goat, like, on that course.
Yes, you got to be a mountain lion on that course to traverse the undulations of Augusta National. You do. You're like, all kidding aside, you do, and that's why he's doing it. I will say this though, that it is kind of creepy that we can now track these guys' jets. That's a little creepy. I think that's cool for content and to an extent, but it's kind of weird. But at the same time, I do think you've seen Tiger Woods do this in the past. Or I think Bob Harrick on Twitter mentioned that before he came back after his back injuries, before he came back after the last time he was out of all the surgeries and injuries, he would walk the course previous, and then he went on to play. When he didn't, when he got hurt, and he said there was a chance that we just didn't hear from Tiger, he didn't walk the course before. So there's that piece of information. The idea, though, that Tiger Woods right now is at plus 4,000, like I every fiber of my body wants him to win, just for a personal reason of seeing Tiger get closer and just the amount of love that we all have for Tiger Woods. But more so, I want Jeff to get that tattoo across his chest
No, it's lower back. We've decided it's lower back. It's going to be a tramp stamp. Yes, it is.
Okay, it's going to be a T stamp. So I want that because that has that's got pop culture reference to it from the times of, maybe last weekend on a Sunday of certain events that have happened. It's got a whole, Tiger trying to catch Jack Nicklaus for the major title. Yes. So there's a lot of stuff that is in this one specific tattoo that if it were to happen, I want that memorable. Like I want that on Jeff's person when he's until he's 100 years old.
Yeah.
So I do want that, but I do think he plays. I think he plays, or else why would he be doing all of this stuff?
It's
and Tiger's that type of person,
yeah,
right? Is to build this all up and then to say I'm playing and then get that pip check at the end of the year again.
I mean, like Jeff, there's no deadline for him to withdraw. So he could end up, and he's been on like Florida courses. He's been on Medalist, like with his caddy, is it Joe LaCava, down there quite a bit on his home course. I mean, he's out there, he's testing his leg, and your gut right now is telling you he's probably going to play as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like I don't. I mean, everything's pointing to it. I don't think that he's obviously trying to make every effort to play. It's not just like he played one practice round. I mean, he's obviously now down at Augusta. And I mean, like I said, this morning, I mean, I'd almost be shocked if he didn't play. The one thing about Tiger is it's someone who's that skilled. He obviously has, he doesn't mind taking on a bigger task. Like if he thinks he's even got a sniff of being competitive, he'll do it because he thinks he can elevate himself in the moment too. That's what great players do. They also tend to have like, they tend to sometimes take on too much. And this could be a case of that. Like, we could see Tiger come out and it may not be that great, just because it's, obviously he's hasn't played competitively. He's not that ready, but he's also got to have some kind of baseline for himself too. I mean, I don't think you're going to see him come out and embarrass himself, but it's really just fascinating to see what he's going to be able to put up on this course too. We're not talking about like, some birdie fest like the Shriners or something like that, where it's just easy par threes. It's Augusta. And I mean, it's obviously Tiger's got a great history there, but it'll expose him pretty quick if he's not ready. And on the other hand, could you imagine if he just came out and shot like 68 the first day or something? I mean,
oh my God,
crazy, right? Sick. So, I mean, we all want this to happen. I just want to see this happen, with silly bets aside, silly tweets aside. I just want to see this happen from a golf perspective because if he even shoots like 73 on Thursday, I mean, what an accomplishment. The dude almost lost his leg, hasn't played competitive golf, and he comes out and just puts up a competitive round in the first major. That's psychotic. So I want to see this happen. Like I said, I'd be almost shocked if he didn't play at this point. I just think that with his mindset and his desire and just the focus that he has, he's probably going to will himself and at least just give himself a chance to do it. So I
was going to say, I lost my train of thought before, but like Reed, yes, there's really no deadline for him to pull out. So could he just do like a practice round next Tuesday? And then he's got to decide, he's got to make that decision in his mind. Like, can I do this for 4 straight days? Like, this is not an easy golf course to maneuver around.
Yeah. And to hedge that, you could easily put him in a to miss the cut bet.
Okay, there you go.
Which again is nobody wants it, but if you like winning money, that's probably the smarter play. Because let's not forget either that he hasn't played a competitive round since a long time ago. I can't remember the last time he played a competitive round. Now, Tiger is probably one of the few golfers that can, like Jeff just said and alluded to, can will his way to create his own competitive, practice to get ready for it. And I don't think anybody's going to say, oh, he hasn't had a competitive round, so I'm going to fade him. But this is not a flat course either. This is not the 3M Open. And this is not a flat course. And what did he say at Genesis is that he can't hit driver yet.
Yeah.
Right. He can't fully get it back and go 80, 90, 100%. And that was back in February. That's not that long ago. And maybe he was playing coy. Maybe he was, giving us all the rope a dope, which I would love. But you need your driver. Like you need to have some pump off the tee. And if you don't, this is going to be a tough course. It's going to be an extremely tough course. And for 4 days, it's not going to be kind to Tiger. But in 2019, we were all saying the same thing, right? Oh, like there's no way, there's no way, there's no way.
Yeah.
And what did he do?
He loves hearing that. He loves hearing people be like, there's no way he can do this. Like 14 months, Jeff, not almost after like losing his legs, but his life, Yeah. And now people are doubting him again. Also, the course, I think, is like at a historic length now. I think the course is north of 7,500 yards. I was reading that earlier. So yeah, it's just north, a record 7,500 yards.
I think the most likely scenario with Tiger is Reed's right about the driver. You'll probably see him struggle off the tee a bit, but I think the bigger thing is I actually wouldn't be shocked if he came out and he was hitting his irons really well, because he's probably, those are the clubs he's been able to hit, right? Mm-hmm. I think where he's going to find trouble. And again, this is just like, I mean, we're just going off gut feeling here and just like, trying to piece together things, but probably we'll struggle off the tee a bit. And then we'll just, going to lead to a few more missed greens, and probably the sharpness around the greens will be what gets him. But yeah, I mean, don't be shocked if he puts together a couple rounds. I won't even be shocked if somehow he gets himself in the mix. I'm not expecting it at all, but man, I just want to see what he's capable of doing. I think again, the thing to take from this week from Tiger is like, he's probably going to make a real comeback at some point, like the competitive golf, to be competitive again, because he's gotten himself to this point. He knows now that he can actually, potentially practice enough to almost get himself ready for a major. He'll come back at some point, like for real come back, where he's trying to win again. So this week is going to be more of just like a wow, just sit back and enjoy it. But I think this is such a good sign for him long-term to perhaps give us a couple more years of, prime Tiger.
Not to get, I know we're going to talk about this next week, but like Tony Finau at plus 8,000.
I mean, we could go over a couple early Augusta picks, and we can wrap up with the Valero.
It's really funny though.
We're here talking
Augusta. Than Louis Oosthuizen at 4,500. And
okay, we're gonna go there, Reed. Okay, sure.
No, I'm just saying he's half the odds of Tony Finau. Yeah. I mean, that's how much of a pull that this guy has at Augusta. I mean, look at all the people that he's ahead of. It is unbelievable. Sam Burns just won.
If Tiger plays next week, he's going to be one of the most bet golfers in the field. Like, just for sure.
I think he already is, isn't he? I think
probably.
I thought I've seen like a few tweets out there, like people are starting to hammer the dude a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the handle or anything like that, but I mean, we'll get some info from DraftKings next week, but it won't shock me at all. I mean, he'll be in the top 5 for sure of most bet
35.
Golfers.
Bryson was the favorite last year.
Mm-hmm. Really plus 8,000. That is interesting.
Yeah, that's wild. I was looking for him. I was like, did they pull his odds because they want to see what he's doing? But Tony,
he's played so poorly, Reed. They're just not letting him play this year.
I mean, Finau was top 5 here with a fractured ankle.
No, I agree. I mean, in all seriousness, that's interesting. I mean, it's gotten to the point with Finau. Yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily big on his chances next week to win, but a plus 8,000 and plus 6,000 for a top 10, I'm interested. And yeah, I don't know.
Just for number's sake, if he wins this week, which again, all conjecture, that number is going to go down by where Tiger is.
Oh yeah.
Right. So just from a shopping, like a value of a number's sake, I mean, plus 8,000, that's crazy.
I think with the Masters too, like there probably tends to be a lot of betting towards like the front of the field. But I also think the great thing about this tournament, Jeff, is like a lot of the favorites are also like just fun prices to bet. I think like we see that like a lot in this tournament. Do you agree? So it's like it's really never a case of people really wanting to avoid the favorites when it comes to this one.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways you get. I see what you're saying. I mean, like we've got, like a big group of guys that like they're bettable numbers. It's not great. It's a condensed field. So the favorites are always a little bit shorter in odds here than compared to like the US Open or the PGA Championship, because they're just bigger fields and it's a little bit more variable there. This is a smaller field. It's almost like a WGC in some ways. And you do get bigger, like smaller odds on some of them, but you also have like they're more condensed. So you can, you like plus 2,000 on Xander. I mean, Morikawa is a plus 2,000. That's extremely bettable.
Yeah.
Even going down to like a Rory or a DJ at plus 1,600. You're right. Like the only player that kind of, well, I mean, I think Scotty Scheffler plus 1,200 is probably a little bit unbettable, but plus 800 for Rahm and maybe plus 1,200 for Scheffler. Those are really the only two guys who probably look a little bit too short for me. And it's not that like you can't bet people at those numbers. It's just, I mean, when you compare them to the numbers you're getting on other players, So I like Rory down there. I think that if you're interested in Rory, I would probably bet him before this week. I think even if Rory top 20s, I could see this number getting a little bit smaller. So, and like, and the thing is, you have to understand about the odds. He's the only top player in the field this week. So, other than this Tiger news, like everyone's watching Rory play, and that's kind of like it. I mean, I know Spieth is there too, but Spieth's odds are already at plus 1,800, and so. I
mean, that's not bad though, right? For Jordan Spieth, what, third or better in 5 of his 8 starts here. And I don't think he's never missed a cut at Augusta.
Spieth,
and I know he's not playing fantastic.
Yeah,
I know that, but recent history suggests that he could find himself in contention like once again.
I mean, absolutely, he does seem to turn it on here every year, no matter what the form. I'm of the opinion if you're going to go in that range, take a shot. I'd almost rather even take a shot with Brooks Koepka. Who I think has been actually like gotten himself into contention a couple times, and is actually starting to look pretty close to me, or maybe even Victor Hovland and Spieth. But I mean, if you're a big Spieth guy, I guess plus 1,800 isn't terrible, but that's not really for me this week.
All right,
I feel he's searching with his swing. There's something weird with his swing. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely like a change, and I just don't think he's worked through it yet.
You talking about with Spieth?
Yeah.
Reed, were you on the PGA Tour live call of that like one tournament where he had that crazy shot like on the edge of the cliff?
Yeah, I was calling that.
Yeah,
that specific shot, and my hands were clammy.
it was unreal. Wasn't he? Yeah, I was going to say he was in the lead, right? He was in the lead
he was in the lead at that point.
I think he was up there. That was a Sunday shot, was it not? I can't remember.
No, that was Saturday, I think.
Okay, I think it was Saturday.
But even then, right? It was like, what are you doing, man? Bridget, she texted me. She's like, if you were a professional golfer and that was you have to promise me that you would never take that shot.
Yeah.
Because it was wild. But to Jeff's point,
she doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Because I'm never going to be in that position.
Yeah. You're not Samir.
Samir he goes after those Pro Vs, baby. He does not want to let those go. I'm like, Samir, I'll just get you another sleeve, big guy. But he's getting better. Well, side note, I played with him a couple of weeks ago, and he's getting better. Guy's good with the flat stick. He's really good. He's gotten a lot better with the flat stick. So
this is an important update for Jeff. Just want you to know Samir's getting better at golf, so maybe not as many zingers towards him here.
Yeah, I haven't heard any for a while.
Hey, I told him, I'm like, I'm gonna give you some props. He faltered on the back 9. He really lost his stride in the back 9. Right. Just because, he couldn't. Anyway. But Cam Smith's the other guy at plus 1,400. You can't tell me that Cam Smith at plus 1,400 is shorter than guys like Vic, Brooks, even Xander, who was runner-up last year to Hideki Matsuyama, Morikawa. There's no way. I know Smith is playing fantastic golf, and he basically, demolished the field on Sunday or Monday at the Players. But that was a lot of product of him being on the right side of the draw as well, right? Like he did his part. I'm not taking anything away from that.
Cam Smith is an interesting player. I mean, I think I agree with you mostly about the odds. I don't think it's quite terrible at plus 1,400.
You're not betting,
but I do like Cam Smith is going to win a major one year. I mean, this dude is legit skilled. I mean,
yeah, of course
he dials like his iron game and when you combine it with that kind of putting and that kind of short game, I mean, like we're talking like prime Jordan Spieth territory. I mean, that's how good he is with those clubs. And he just seems to be like someone who's just walked in to his confidence. So yeah. Am I betting Cameron Smith at plus 1,400? No, just like you said, but man, would I be shocked if he won either? No, I really wouldn't.
Right. Yeah. But he was runner up couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's got played well he's played well at like a lot of majors. So I'm kind of hoping Cam Smith like misses the cut this week, and then we can bet him at like a bettable number at the PGA or something. That would be ideal. But yeah, I mean, this is a player who I'm fully expecting to ship a major in the next couple seasons.
And Jeff, what he did too, right, is that you saw what he made those bogeys in the front nine. He came back and he made those birdies in the back.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what he failed to do at Augusta on Sunday, which is, down the stretch, he faltered. He wasn't getting it out off the tee, made some bogeys, and then DJ just took it away. He's completely changed that. That's huge.
You look at his 2 wins, like just this season, 2 elite fields. You had, the Players, you have Century, and also an interesting fact here. He's missed just 2 cuts across his last 15 appearances in all 4 majors. Like, this is clearly a dude who he's not winning them like Brooks Koepka, but he certainly is a different beast come like the big stage. He's also, I did not know this, he has soared to the PGA Tour lead in true total strokes gained per round this 2021-2022 season. This dude is playing unbelievable golf.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Like Jeff talked about. I mean, when you have a putter that you can feel confident and at 25, 30 feet in, that you feel like you're going to make it on any course, that's really going to pay dividends for how well you do on Sunday. Right, because Cam Smith could easily. I think he actually doesn't like the calling. Well, Cameron Smith.
Cameron, because I like him, and I don't want to meet him one day and be like, "You always call me Cam on the slate."
Yeah, I think I'm sure Cameron, or maybe that's Cameron Champ. Anyway, I digress. Cam Smith, the Aussie,
great segue.
Yeah, thank you. He's got that type of mentality too, right? That in the majors that you want. He's and I don't mean this bad. He's a sharper version of DJ. Okay. Like DJ is kind of aloof. Cam Smith, after the Players, said golf was second. It was secondary. My mom and sister are in from town. I haven't seen them in 2 years. The golf would have been great, but it was secondary to me being with my family. And he goes down and he wins the Players. Right. So a lot of factors go into that, but that's exactly who you want. But I'd rather get him on the dip. Like Jeff talked about, get him to miss the cut that next week. Yeah. And then bet, perfect. It's the PGA. He's 3,500.
Yeah. From a pure betting standpoint, if Cam Smith wins the Masters at plus 1,400, I'm not going to feel too bad about missing it, So,
yeah.
I feel dumb about not betting with the Players, obviously, but that was at a much bigger number. And, now that he's down there, I'd rather take a shot with Rory, who is most likely going to be the guy I really pile on in that that level.
Southern Hills this year. I was unaware of that. May 19th to 22nd. It still screws in my mind with the PGA Championship now, like the second major. Right, it's like, hey guys, let's care about this major. I'm already thinking past the Masters to the US Open being here in our backyard, Reed, in Boston. And then everyone's talking about, some reason Tiger can't put it together here in the next month or so, really isn't confident on his leg. It's almost a lock that he's going to show up to St. Andrews. Oh, that would make me.
That's something that I'd be interested in.
Dude, that's an event where Tiger may actually, instead of talking about Tiger's odds this week, you should actually be looking at futures for the Open. That's probably a better betting strategy if we're being dead honest.
I like that. Well, we have around we have less than 10 minutes to go here and show. Do you want to share with us your betting strategy for this week? We'll give the Texas Open a little bit of love
Valero. Here. Yes.
Yeah, the Valero, because I had a incredible stat that blew your mind and shocked you that I prepped the other day when I brought it up on the Sweat, was that I think 7 of the last 9 golfers to win this tournament, Jeff, were guys who had yet to punch a ticket to the Masters. You win this tournament, you punch a ticket to the Masters. You were blown away. So is that a kind of golfer, a type of golfer that you would target this week as a guy who's I got to win. I got to go big because I want to play in Augusta next week.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Everybody, no, just wait. This is an event where you see a lot of first-time winners, and there's definitely events on the PGA Tour where they just seem to lend themselves more to first-time winners. I don't know if it's because everyone's like, oh, I get to book my ticket to Augusta, or if it's just that the field at the top with the top players are looking ahead. And I think it's just a little bit easier for those mid-tier like middle tier players to just take a step up. I think it's more the second than the first, but regardless of how you're looking at it, it's an event where, yeah, like we've seen guys break through. You know, Kevin Chappell did it a few years ago. Landry, Corey Connors, pretty solid players, especially like from a ball striking perspective. We just kind of were able to turn it up a little bit, and I think those are the type of players that you should be targeting here, especially in the mid range. I mean, you don't have to go crazy or bet anyone at bad numbers, but there's certainly players in this field like I'm interested in who fit that vein of like guys who could potentially break through this week. And I think it's a great event for first time winners because we have a thin top of the field, like Hideki Spieth really not playing that great. Rory obviously is a concern, but his eyes are on Augusta, I think for sure. How much that can affect his overall chances to win. I think it's enough that I'd be fine sprinkling, a full card on guys just, of that vein where, going for their first win kind of thing.
Okay. Fowler, what about you? You got a couple dudes you're targeting here?
Well, yeah, I'm surprised Jeff didn't talk about a one Tony Finau.
He did this morning. I'll give you this.
We're talking about first time winners. I mean,
Jeff would argue that he hasn't
People
won
know
yet.
I like Finau this week. I mean, it's in all my articles. He's bet him plus 4,000. I think it's ridiculous odds that he's plus 4,000.
And we mentioned it that his last win was in August. You were there for that. You were being a massive fanboy. You were drooling, but really, I don't think. If you don't count the one in the Bahamas, what was that, the Hero? I don't think he's finished top 10 like since then. And as we discussed this morning, a lot of it's been because of his short game and that putting. Yeah.
His putting has been atrocious.
Yeah.
But we know that his putting is not his best weapon.
So you think he has a chance this week? Cause I've seen a tweet that you put out recently and then you're sprinkling a little bit.
Yeah. I got a little sprinkle on him. And because like, look, I mean, this is 7 of the last 9. It's a good stat. I wonder where you found that stat there, Mr. Lazia.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, interesting. But like this is a tournament that it's fun to bet. I'd say from a strategy standpoint, don't go crazy this week because you want to save some of your eggs for next week's basket in Augusta. If you really, because it's Augusta. Come on now. So I'm not going too heavy, but what I will say is you're seeing the dichotomy of how which players win and how to bet, right? It's either the favorites that are coming into it, like a Chris Kirk this week is getting a lot of love and he's in the 30s and 20s. If you look at the last handful of years, guys that have come in with form or maybe their odds look crazy this week compared to all the other weeks, they've actually won, right? Outside of Connors, who Monday qualified into this tournament, then won, and Landry, you're seeing these players that have won at like 16-1, like Spieth won at 16, Chappell won at 33, Hoffman won at 30, Jimmy Walker won at 25. So like you're seeing the top of the board win this golf tournament, right? That's just how it goes. And on top of that too, the weather can definitely play a factor, right? So yes, I'm targeting first time winners. I'm also looking at guys that play well in Texas, right? I want that aspect of it as well.
Okay, so that's why I was kind of feeling a little bit of KH Lee plus 5,500. I know he's won it in Texas before. Also, 11 consecutive cuts. And Jeff, as you have mentioned, long shots have fared well at this tournament. Like in the past, another dude I like at plus 5,500, Davis Riley, won the Corn Ferry Tour event here in 2020. Also, he just did he just lose like in a playoff, right? Was that
he did at the
was that him? Yeah, that's right. Okay. So that's two dudes I like around that number.
I mean, Riley's super talented. He'll break through on the PGA one day. I worry that maybe he's a little bit of a letdown spot just coming off that playoff loss, but he's got experience here. I don't even think the number's that terrible. It's not like what you love, but it's not terrible. And I think Reed makes a good point. Like, I don't mind if you're investing in Chris Kirk at plus 2,500, I'd probably try and find a better number if I'm being honest, but like Woodland at plus 3,000, even Hadwin at plus 4,000. Like, I think one of those dudes could absolutely break through this week. And I definitely prefer betting them than any of the guys kind of under them. And I think it's decent spots. Like those are kind of the odds we've seen, but we've also seen big long shot winners here.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Connors was huge odds, Bowditch, like back in the day, Landry, like those guys. So it's kind of like been a weird mix, but it has often been players who either haven't won in a while, needed that win to get an Augusta, or first time winners. And I think I really think you're going to see either someone like a Hadwin or Kirk vault themselves into Augusta, or you're going to see just someone like I think Reed's on him too, is like a Doug Gim, like a good young player who sets up really well for this week. You know, on some
what's his
radars,
number?
But plus 8,000. You know, I think a player like that. And there's other players down there too. I mean, we could get deeper. Like Matthew Neesmith played well in his last start.
Is anyone here feeling a Brendan Steele? A Brendan Steele at plus 8,000.
Get out of here. Brendan Steele.
What do you mean? What do you mean, dude? It's one of his 3 victories on tour came here in 2011.
He's like Charlie Hoffman version 2 at this course.
Oh, Charlie. By the way, Charlie Hoffman, top 10 finish, plus 600. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Yeah. I mean, like Emerson's going chalk, everywhere.
What are you talking about? I'm making the
Hoff Daddy is like an absolute assassin at this course. Everybody loves Davis Riley because of what he did recently.
Okay.
Brendan Steele has gotten like 18,000 top 10s here.
Well,
right. Like I get what you're saying, Emerson, but like you also have to think about too, is that like leading into those tournaments of those previous years, what were these guys doing?
Doesn't matter.
That has some aspect to it. Not saying that it can't happen. Right. Like a guy like Hoff Daddy can win. Davis Riley, in my opinion, like is way too short. Like KH Lee is a TPC guy. Like he plays all TPC courses extremely well.
Really good.
Having said that, like a lot of these numbers too, right? I'd rather go to Pat Kazire at 55 because his numbers line up a little bit more for me over a guy like KH Lee and Davis Riley. Not knocking you, but when you go 1-1-1-1 for your final 4, you're gonna get some pushback there, big guy.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but go ahead, Jeff.
I like the Kazire bet too. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, well, that's I think he likes the Kazire bet because that was Hawkbird's pick this morning.
Hochberg, that's my man, Len Hawk. If he's on Kazire, then we're in
dude. Lenny Hawk, that's my guy, bro.
Doug Ginn sees this guy, University of Texas, vault to number 1 and win the WGC match play.
Yeah, I like the Kazire bet for a few reasons because it's got a little bit of similarities to Spieth. He's good with his irons. He can really light it up with the putter. I worry a little bit with a guy like Gim just not being able to sink enough putts, but you don't have that worry with Kazire. He's also plus 5,500 versus plus 8,000. So you're paying down a little slightly worse odds, but I could definitely see a guy like Kazire. That's kind of why I don't mind Hadwin at plus. I don't even mind Hadwin at plus 4,000. He's a little bit shorter odds, but like he can get hot with the putter and the irons, right? I think those are the type of players you should be targeting. And so
right. So who's we got it? Like who's your pick, Emerson? Is it KH Lee or Davis Riley?
I'm going with Riley. Riley because the reason KH Lee already has a spot in the Masters. Riley's going to earn it this week.
Okay, I got Kazire. You got to pick in that range, Jeff. I got Kazire. That guy's got KH Lee. Who's your guy in that?
No, I said Riley.
That's what I said. Did I not say that?
You just said KH Lee. Now you're trying to change my pick. I know exactly.
I'll just take Doug Gim. I'll take Doug Gim, even though he's like plus 8,000.
Okay,
handicap myself as per usual on the show. So
Venmo me $4.15 when I win.
All right. We gotta go. We gotta wrap it. Producer Eamon is upset, and AC on the 1s and 2s. Let's go. Curtain close. Thanks everybody for watching.